Hello, welcome to another live show, another live She Knows Arsenal. Make sure you guys are liking the video and subscribing to the channel and getting into the chat and letting me know what you guys are thinking about Arsenal's 1-1 draw away at Stamford Bridge. I'm gonna let you guys know right now that I'm very ill. Like, I thought I was gonna be okay yesterday, and then like today, I've hit such a bad wall. So if I sound weird, if I look weird, if I have brain fog, please allow me. I am dying to just shut off the lights and go to sleep. I could barely watch this game. I wanted it done so bad. Yeah, so I haven't looked at the chat yet, but I'm sure that there's a myriad of kind of feelings and all that kind of stuff, and I'm happy to read those. Of course, I'll give you mine first, and then get into yours. I'm just fucking glad this game is over. Like, I swear, probably about 10 minutes after the Bayern result, the full-time whistle went at the Emirates when we beat Bayern. The content online instantly went to Chelsea versus Arsenal. There was like no analysis about our game. It was just, okay, now we have Chelsea versus Arsenal. This is going to be the biggest game of the season. And the chat, there was just so much chat. And I'm like, we're just going to draw like we always do. That's literally what I was like. My prediction for this game was a draw. I was like, we always draw there. We rarely win, but recently we usually draw. It's usually their cup final. It's usually their biggest game of the season. It's usually the chance for them to show everybody that they're whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop. And I think in the last 3 games that we've played them, like including this one, they've kind of outplayed us for the most part, but somehow we end up with a draw and then we go about our day. You know, I don't know. That's just what's been happening, so I'm kind of happy just so like the narrative and all that bullshit. They're talking about, oh, Arsenal got a big problem. Caicedo, he got sent off like he should have. I would say probably like a side note to the actual playing, which, we'll get into. I just think Anthony Taylor was like totally unfit for this for the most part. I think he got it wrong instantly when he gave Zubamendi the yellow, because then he had to go turn around and give Cucurella the yellow. Then he turned around and gave Mascara the yellow. And then in the midst of that, Caicedo shoved 2 people. I think he shoved like Timber, and he shoved Marino. I think it was those 2 players, and both of those were fouls. He didn't give fouls for either one. And I'm just like, Anthony Taylor actually could have protected Moises Caicedo had he give him a foul or a yellow in those moments, because then he would have had to think like, oh shit, like the referee is actually penalizing me for my bad behavior. But because he didn't do that, he got all out of control and he did the tackle on Marino. So to me, that was all on Anthony Taylor, because if you get a yellow card early, you temper a little bit. Most players that have any sort of restraint, they temper themselves a little bit, and then their mind switches on and they're like, oh shit, maybe I shouldn't do these bad tackles. And because Moises Caicedo had gotten away with those really aggressive shoves and stuff like that, his mind just went, oh, I can just do whatever the fuck I want. And then he did that horrendous tackle on Marino and was rightfully sent off. Nobody can say otherwise. The whole thing with Hincapié is, to me, is not even really a yellow, but they had to give it because Chalobah was rolling around and all that shit. I know he had like a knock on his eye, but like, fuck that. But it was never a red. So anybody who thought it was a red, that's ridiculous. Now, Arsenal really didn't do much with that man advantage. I think that's probably if it had been 11v11 and the game had kind of went similarly and we would have drawn, I think people would be less like annoyed, but we didn't really make much of the man advantage. The one time that we did, we scored a goal and we probably could have scored more if one player in particular didn't screw up every single chance. I'm going to get to that in a second, but it was just Arsenal were definitely at like a I would say like a 60%. Like Arsenal were not as up for it as Chelsea were. Again, going back to my original statement, this was their cup final. I thought that they were going to come in like this. Because they're always like, this is our chance to show, wow, wow, but they never want to show it against other teams. It's just us. But yeah, I think Arsenal struggled to capitalize on having the man up. And I just wonder if some players were just maybe a little bit rattled by the occasion and the noise and the physicality of the game. I wonder if having two really difficult games ahead of this or like two emotionally taxing games, the Bayern game and the Tottenham game before this, hurt us a little bit, maybe not having as many subs as we could have possibly had because we would be desperate to get people back and it was only in this game really where we got like a lot of players back. I wonder if not having Saliba and Gabriel really impacted us. I'm not even gonna hold y'all. That goal that they scored, that don't happen with Saliba and Gabriel back there. That it doesn't. Instantly, the moment that we don't have Gabriel back there, we become headless chickens back there defending our own box on corners. So yeah, but we didn't really make a lot of that man advantage and we did score a goal and we did tie it up, but I just felt like there was a lack of like energy and maybe intensity from Arsenal where Chelsea were like as intense and had as much energy as anyone. So it was not the best watch, but I'm not going to hold y'all. I thought it was going to be a draw and I'll take a draw because, you know, I'm just like, anybody that's around us, we just need to like not lose and then beat them at home. That's kind of how I've always thought about it. The red card makes it a bitter pill to swallow, but all in all, I can kind of wrap that up in a bow and toss it over my shoulder and say, okay, that's over. I'm glad the nightmare is over. But I did think that we would have been able to take care of that or take more advantage of that 10 man that one man advantage had if every single time we get on the box, Bukayo Saka didn't kick the ball out into the stands. And this is very rare for me. It's very rare for me to call out Bukayo Saka or say anything negative about him because he has so much credit in the bank and he did get the assist for Marino's goal. But when our whole game plan is basically built around us getting you the ball, you got to do better, baby. Like there was several times where he just kicked it into the stands. There was one time where, he hit it with his right and he knew it too because we had two players open in the box onside, and that should have been 2-0 because I think that was fairly quick after we had equalized. I just think that there was a lack of quality in the final third, and a lot of that was kind of on his side, and he was, like it wasn't a great game for him. I think he struggled to have those moments of quality, and again, he does get the cross for Marino's goal, but we had chances after that to win it with a man up, and we couldn't do that because every single time the ball hit your toe, it skewed off somewhere into the stands or whatever. Not blaming him solely because obviously Bukayo Saka is not at fault for the goal that we conceded, but I just expect so much more from like literally our best player. I don't think Martinelli had much of an impact. I don't think Eze had much of an impact. I don't think Madueke had much of an impact. It was just very much so an unimpactful game from our attackers, to be honest. And I think that if Declan Rice had not shown up today, we probably would have lost. He was outstanding. When we talk about the individual battles between, let's call it Cucurella versus Saka or Declan Rice versus Caicedo or whatever, Rice won that. Like Rice won that because not only did he keep his head and didn't get sent off, but he was absolutely breathtaking out there, just running around, cleaning up messes, getting us forward. He was the only player that could seem to get quality touches on the ball. The amount of players that it was just skewing off their shin and skewing off their ankle. Excuse me. It was just crazy. So I think Declan Rice is far and clear the man of the match. Like, it's not even close. And I think we've learned a lot today. I think we've learned a lot in terms of, I think this team is quite resilient, and even when they don't play well, they get a result. But I think, we've seen what maybe the limitations are when it comes to Mascara and Hincapié, and how I think we much prefer our number one center back pairing, but also it's probably just better for them to be partnered with someone, because Hincapié and Saliba were just fine against Spurs, and against it's Spurs, but it just felt like it was just a little bit too much for them today. It was just a little bit too much for them today. And that we love to give away silly yellows, it was just a lot. I don't know if we struggled with their P&P a little bit at times, and once they got by us in certain positions, like once you get past Calafiori, you're by him. Once you get past Moreno, you're by him. Once you get past Zubamendi, you're by him. So they're snatching, snatching, snatching. It was a little bit of that. So yeah, I think it'll be sour right now, and it probably should be, because we were a man up and we should have done more with that. But I will say that, like, this team is incredibly resilient, and I think this is an okay result for us. Uh, and we did okay. We did okay. We're not always going to be at our best, but we had a very, like, a hellish week going against Spurs and then Bayern, and then turning around and going against the world champions. And I think we did I think we did a good job for the week, but today was definitely our worst performance of the three. Let's get into some of your guys' comments. Sorry. Again, if you guys are just joining, my head feels like it's about to explode. So yeah. Kudus Tarsmell was it was a tough week for us. Saka is a bottler. He's not really a bottler because he got the assist for Moreno's goal. He just lacked quality beyond that, and that was really hard to watch because he had so many chances. Jess, I saw some fans saying it was a hard-fought draw, embarrassing. I mean, listen, it was a hard-fought draw because we were outplayed for a big chunk of that. So, it's a hard-fought draw usually means that you were not the better team. And I think for large parts of that, we weren't, you know? Reece James was better than all Arsenal's midfield, including Declan Rice. Stop lying, madam. You failed Bottlers FC. I mean, no offense, but it was your cup final to win. When you're in a title race, you needed to turn us over today, because ultimately we're 6 points ahead of you. So in order for you to catch us in a 6-pointer, you need to beat us, because you're probably not going to beat us at the Emirates. So if anything, you guys bottled it because everything was going in your favor. You had all your players back. You had Caicedo, you had, Esteval, and your main player, your best player, got sent off. And if he had not gotten sent off, you might have won. So if anything, Caicedo bottled it, not us. But thanks for your comment. Didn't even see as a play. Odegaard came out in and did a lot of linking up. Marino was only good for the goal. Otherwise, he should have come off earlier. Skelly was so poor. Calafiori and Rice were great. Yeah, I just think, like, Eze, it just wasn't his best game. Like, I just think that we needed more outside. Like, we needed somebody that wants to get on the ball a little bit more, and we just couldn't get that from him. I thought Miles Lewis-Skelly was – I get that Calafiori was on the yellow, but had maybe Arteta known that Esteval was going to come off, he would have kept Calafiori on, because there was no real threat there anymore, if that makes sense for him to get sent off. Because for me, Miles is a little wonky right now. He doesn't look like he's at his most confident. So Miles did struggle. I think in all, like, our whole entire team pretty much struggled to get up to the intensity and all of that. Yet, I still think that, all in all, they did well to get, like, I feel like when a team is their whole life's mission is to beat you and they're up for it and you're away and stuff, it's really hard, especially when you don't have your best, your best group out there. And we'll be kidding ourselves to say that missing Saliba and Gabrielle together is not big. So I don't want to say that I feel like it was just like the most horrendous thing ever in the world. I just think that we were probably like, we were at like a 70% and it showed. And so, yeah, we just have to wait, man. Saka is the reason we drew the game. He is the reason we we are bottlers. I don't really know what are we bottling here? We're 6 points clear of Chelsea, we're 5 points clear of Man City. What are you guys talking about? Martinelli should not be starting the game. He's good at finishing games. I thought Arteta knew that already. I mean, there's no Trossard. Um, there was no Trossard, so who would you have rather started, Madueke? Because Madueke came on and didn't really do anything either. So I don't necessarily know if I feel like the starting 11 was a problem. I just think they weren't up for it. They weren't as up for it as if they needed. Like you get what I'm saying? Chelsea were beefing us for no reason. 100%. Sometimes you have a bad day at the office and we didn't lose, so forget it and move on. That's kind of how I feel as well. But then I also just feel like there's like an element of like there's never people are because we've added so much context in the past to our inability to win things. People are very strict now and they don't feel like there should be any reason why we don't play at our best. And there were plenty of reasons today why we probably didn't play our best. That makes sense. But I never expected this game to be easy. And I don't know if you guys did, if you guys just expect us to just walk in there and we there's been a bigger gap between these two teams over the last 2-3 seasons, and we haven't beat them in the last 2 times, now 3 times that we went to Stamford Bridge. So I'm trying to understand, like, like we haven't. The last time that we beat them at Stamford Bridge was 1-0 with the Gabby corner goal. The last 2 times we've drawn. So it's just, I kind of expected this, but it was a little bit more struggling than I think it should have been. Let's see. It's unfortunate fans don't realize that every team we play will be up for it, especially the fact that we're on top. I mean, it's like I just expected it. The way that they were chatting, I was like, this is their cup final. Like literally, after we beat Tottenham, I think, or something. I got a text message or a thing in the group chat from Don saying 7 days. Like they really were like, this is gonna be the time that we turn them over. And they didn't turn us over. And there's just a lot in this game. There's a lot in this game because on one end, you know, we're away from home and we didn't have our best center back pairing and we weren't looking our best or whatever. So a draw kind of felt like it was cool, but we were a man up for a large part of it. So like, why couldn't we take advantage of that? So it's yeah, like, and I understand, like, Jess, I'm disappointed. There's nothing wrong with being disappointed at all. I'm not even gonna sit here and be like, oh, you need to just be happy for the draw. But the talk about bottling and all that when we're 5 points clear at the top. And a lot of these conversations are being had after Sunderland, and then you guys had to eat those too. So when you play against good teams, it's hard, it's tough. And we've dropped points away from home in like 3 games now. And we've played like Sunderland or towards the top. I think they've been booted out the top 4 now, right? Let's see. I can't remember. They can't be in the top 4 now. But they might be like top 5, top 6. So yeah, we played Sunderland away. They were tough. Second game of the season, fucked up against, Liverpool, whatever, and then Chelsea. So I don't know. I don't know what to tell y'all. Like, I really don't. We lost the title after going 8 points clear to City. Why so confident? I know you're not talking to me. About being so confident. I feel like the thing is with you guys is like you want people to like co-sign your like your anxiety, and if you don't see somebody doing that, you feel like they're being arrogant. It's not that I'm being arrogant. It's if we're going to pretend like this is the exact same team, then why are we even pretending we're in a title race then? It's like you guys are still stuck in 22-23, and I get that there's trauma from it. This is a completely different team, a completely different year. It's totally different circumstances. The context is totally different. So, like, I don't know. Like, I'm not really feeling like, oh, it's just like 22-23. We didn't start collapsing in the 22-23 season until the very fucking end. Like, the very fucking end when we were playing against West Ham and teams like that. So, I don't know. I'm not really feeling it like that. I'm not really feeling it like that, but you guys want people to co-sign your anxieties about things. And as much as I'm like not totally 100% confident that we're going to win it, I don't think we're in a position where we need to pretend like we're bottling it because we didn't beat Chelsea away from home. And like really, like, I could understand if we fucked up against Leeds and we were playing Leeds and we drew to Leeds, but we didn't. Chelsea are the 2nd team in the league. Like, they're 2nd. They're there, they were there for a reason, and they were at home. So, it's weird. It's, like, weird to feel like we were just gonna walk in there and just waltz all over them, especially when you know that this is their cup final. Act like you've been here before. Um, Let's see. Saka is a perennial bottler and we depend on him and we are bottlers. Okay. Well, it just feels like you need to be in a negative spiral. So have fun with that. Our fans have no backbone. I mean, it's just weird. Like I don't the thing is I am um disappointed that we weren't able to take more from that when we were up a man. I definitely understand that. But I just don't see the same frailty that I saw a couple years ago, and I just feel like, you know, if you after the let's say after that Man City game, if again, we're in the same position again, if you would have told me that we were gonna be 5 points clear of Man City at this point in the season, I would have told you were crazy. So, it's just um, micro, I understand that this game was not a great performance. Macro, it's just not really to me like, oh my god, we bottled it. Like, come on. Like, we need to grow up a little bit. Um, can we retire bottle as a football term? No one really understands what it means anymore. Um, let's see. There's no need to be losing it. The game is disappointing in isolation, but the boys are showing a lot this season. I do think that they showed a lot in this game. You can have a bad performance and still show something within the game. I think in years gone past, we crumble. And I don't feel like that was a crumble. I think we came back from behind. There was some poor defending back there. And I think, you know, again, you gotta give credit to Chelsea too, like, they're not shit, so they're not shit at all, so the idea that, they weren't gonna have good moments is just a little bit naive, I feel, and they had their good moments, and we had our some really bad moments as well, um, but we came out with a draw, so it is what it is. This was the week we were supposed to be knocked out of the title race by Chelsea and Spurs, yet we stand here 5, 6 points clear with easier fixtures to come. Um, let's see. Crazy fans, come on, lads. More more drop points. We played average at best. Thanks, Marino, again for a clutch goal. Yeah, we didn't necessarily play well today, but you guys also after we lost to Sunderland, or we didn't lose, we drew to Sunderland. You guys went on, we had multiple streams, and you guys were shitting your pants saying that, oh, we're gonna lose to Tottenham. When we lose to Tottenham, and we whooped them, then whooped Bayern, and then came into this game. We didn't have a great performance, but we didn't lose. So it's a little bit like this team is just not crumbling the way that you guys are trying to make it seem like they are. Um, let's see. Winning against Brentford and Villa is a must, though. Yeah, we're gonna have to beat them, and obviously Villa are in good form right now, right? Then they popped into 4th. So, yeah, we have some tough games coming up. We have some easier games coming up, but we just have to buckle in. Um, let's see. The whole media was looking at this specific week as the week we'd bottle the lead. Yeah, and we didn't. We didn't. Um, let's see. City dropped points to Big 6 teams 2 seasons ago and still beat us by 2 points. All we have to do is beat weaker teams and we'll be okay. I think this is a really good point because I was thinking about this during the game as well, that, we beat City at home in a season where we were in a title race with them, and we celebrated that like it was something, and then they still won the league by 2 points. So this whole we just have to win our games and do the best that we can and beat the small teams. It's never really been our inability to perform against the big teams. It's always been our problem that we drop silly points against the Villas and the West Hams and the Newcastles and teams like that. Fulham, so if you take that into context and you remember that, then you'll see why this is not like the worst result. We just can't turn around and fuck up against Brentford and teams like that. All tough games are in the first half. Liverpool away done, United away done, Newcastle away done, Chelsea away done, Sunderland away done, Villa away next week. It only gets easier. Let's see. I guess we should go 38-0 for some of these Arsenal fans. And the Arsenal perspective says good afternoon, good evening, y'all. Yeah, I just think that I agree that all things considered, I think this was a fair result. Um, I don't necessarily think that this is a terrible result. I don't think it was the result that we had good circumstances to get more than this. But I think ultimately, sorry, I need to blow my nose. They were up for it more than we were. Give me 1 second. Where are my tissues? Oh my, what did I do to deserve this? Okay, sorry guys. Oh, I'm like dying so much. Yeah, but at the end of the day, like I feel kind of okay, but then at the same time, it's like I am disappointed. Like, ah, shit. Like it would have been. Really should have done so much better, and I'm just more disappointed that there was just like that lack of quality in the final third from some of our players, and um, like I love Saka down, but I do really feel like so many things so many of those balls fell to his feet, and had he had just got the ball on frame or hit it to a teammate, we would have been able to win, so I don't know what his problem was, but it was weird. Like, it really was like, "If you do this one more time, like, I'm gonna lose my shit." Like, you're literally supposed you're our main person, so it kinda the onus is on you to put in a good cross like you did for the Marino goal or get the shot on target, And, there just wasn't enough for it just wasn't enough to me from him. Saka takes too many shots. He doesn't pass enough with all the balls he gets. Perhaps he wanted to score due to his, I don't know if you're saying like girlfriend or something. Uh, Saka just had a sinker. I feel very much so like his one moment of quality was great. Um, he had one good moment of quality, but everything else was really poor to me. Even the early shot that he got in the first half, I thought every time it's like, I don't know if it's because it's on your right and they wouldn't let you get on your left. I don't know. It was just dark, but I thought Rice was really, really good. Um, he actually had an outstanding game, in my opinion. And I said this on Mo's show probably about probably maybe just about over a month ago, and he asked me if Arsenal win something this season, who would be your player of the season? And I said Declan Rice, and he looked at me like I was smoking crack, and I was like, he said not Saka, not Gabrielle, and I said no, Declan Rice. Like literally, if Declan Rice like if we do anything, it'll because Declan Rice will spur us forward. He is our most big game, big kind of personality leader to everything guy. Like, and he scores big goals and does big shit. And that's what he's done in this entire week. He has been flawless this entire week. and he's just the type of player that doesn't get shook. He was one of the only players today that didn't get shook when we conceded. You know, it's just he wasn't shook by the noise, nothing. You know, so for me, I think he's so I don't know where this like disconnect is at times, but you may not like the way it looks, but Declan Rice is one of them ones for us. Like if he is not there, I'm not trying to watch us for real, you know? So yeah. But that's not to say that Gabriel and Saka are not two of our best players as well. I just feel like Declan Rice is he just is fundamental to everything that we're doing. Like it's just so clear to me. Uh yeah. Uh Declan Rice is our engine. He's crucial to everything. I agree. Trossard is a big miss today. I think we missed first of all, what we missed from when we missed for Trossard is we get to this point in some games where we play against teams that are rushing us and are putting a lot of pressure on us, and then we lose kind of like our ability to keep possession and maintain a level of like composure. And I feel like that happens when you have too many players that are not used to having the ball at their feet. And I think that that's where you get like players like Martinelli. And this is not to shit on Martinelli at all. But I feel like if you have somebody like Trossard, somebody that you can pass the ball to, that can keep the ball and then keep possession, it gives you an extra pair of feet to look to when you're under pressure. And I think that our players always kind of felt like they were under pressure because they look up and they just see blue jerseys and there's like no one to pass it to. So Trossard is a big miss from that perspective, but he's also a big miss because he's a big game, big goal person. Like Gabriel's a big game, big goal person. Trossard, big goal, big game person. We missed two of our big game guys, and it showed. And that's not to say that I don't think that, you know, Hincapié did his thing. Like I think he did as well as he could in a situation that he's never been in before. I don't give a shit what kind of games you've been in your lifetime. I don't care if you've played in a Europa League final. I don't care if you've played a game against, Bayern in your life. You have never felt anything until you've played games at Stamford Bridge, or, you have to do a North London derby against Spurs, or you ain't never played nothing like that. It's just different. The vibe is different. The pressure is different. It's just a different thing. And I think for Hincapié, this was a very good baptism of fire for him. A very good baptism of fire for him. I think he low key needed to be dropped into the fire like that so he knows this ain't the Bundesliga, baby. Like you're about to be playing up against the hardest teams to play up against, and it's going to be tough for you. So, yeah, I think, they will learn from this. Mascara and Hincapié will learn from these moments and be so much better for it. But when you miss people like Trossard and Gabriel, you feel it because those are like your big goal guys. Like they score goals for you in moments that it's like, who's going to do it? And I got to a point, I was like, I don't know if we're going to score. Like, I genuinely do not know if we're going to score. And lo and behold, it was our other big goal, big game player in Marino. Like, so yeah, like I'm glad that they kind of came out unscathed during this time, but you definitely saw a big difference between like the levels between Saliba and Gabriel and Mascara and Hincapié. If you needed to see it with your own two eyes, shame on you. You shouldn't have to see it with your own two eyes. You should know that Gabriel and Saliba are levels, but if you were confused, I hope you're not confused anymore. We don't play under pressure. We survive Bayern because we maintain structure. Today the midfield was open. Don't know why. Um, Yeah, we don't play under pressure. We survive Bayern because we maintain structure. Today the midfield was open. Don't know why. I think that do I think the midfield was open? I think it's a tough one. I think that, Chelsea did a good job kind of like maybe exploiting that little space in between where like Rice and Zuby would sit and Eze would be because Eze was like really high. And then so there's like all this space like right there in the middle. And they were just kind of like floating their fullbacks and different players into those positions to find space. So they found really good space in those positions. So yeah, I think that they just did a good job in some ways, and other teams get to have tactics too, you know. So yeah. Hey Jess, I'll take a draw, and I am pleased with the players who played today. Defense was better than I thought without two main monsters. Yeah, I think outside of the actual free kick, you know, or not the free kick, the corner, I think we defended actually pretty well, you know. So with like you said, without our main defenders back there. So yeah, we did okay. I think the midfield was open because of early yellow card to Zuby, which is also a good point because then you can't press high anymore because once they get by you, you have to drop. And that's a good point that maybe because Zuby got the yellow, he felt like he couldn't press anymore. He just had to drop off. And in fact, we had so many players that were on yellows that we probably just could not push up anymore. And we had to drop off. And that's where that spot came in there. So that's a really good point. Where's the Timber slander coming from? I don't know. I'm not seeing any Timber slander, but Timber was good today. Like he always is. So yeah. Jess, can we talk about MLS though? I don't know if there's anything to really say about MLS. I just think that I wouldn't have subbed Calafiori off, you know. And I think had Arteta known that Esteval was coming off at halftime as well, he wouldn't have subbed him off either, even with the yellow. Uh, I think that, you know, MLS is in a difficult period and he's not the starter. And he's just somebody that I feel like at this point, like he just needs to find a little bit of form. And I think it's a good thing that he's not in the limelight right now because he's not looking like the MLS that was playing at the Bernabeu and stuff like that. But this is the second season syndrome for a young player is a real thing. And I think that people just expected him to not have any peaks and troughs, just like with Ethan. Ethan had that great like kind of run, and then he did fall off at the back end of last season, and people pretended like it didn't happen, and it did, you know. So, yeah, I think that at the end of the day, you know, there's not really much to say about MLS because he's 18, and the expectation is for him to go up and down. Well, of course they're seeing Timber slander from Chelsea fans because they feel like Reece James is just like so much better. Reece James didn't even play the same position. This is what I've been saying this whole season. Reece James doesn't even play really right back for Chelsea anymore. He plays in midfield and center back and shit like that. Timber has been outstanding this season and they know it, and that's why they keep jibbing jabbing at him. It doesn't matter. Like I really, one thing about me is you can't tell me shit about Timber. Like, I'm not about to sit here in the mud with y'all trying to, but Timber doesn't. I'm not trying to hear all that. Like, there's probably 4 or 5 players in this team that you can't tell me nothing about, and he is one of them. Like, Timber, don't play. I do not play about Timber. He was good today. But that's the thing. It's like, we drew. Reece had a good game, but Timber also had a good game. Rice also was outstanding. So nobody really got anything over. The only thing that we learned for sure is that Caicedo is a shin kicker, like we've always said. That's the only thing that was like stamped as approved this weekend. He's a shin kicker. He did exactly what we've been saying. He kicks the shit out of people's shins. So yeah. You can compare any right back to Timber right now. He is something else. You can't. Yeah, he's just really, really good, man. African Giant, thank you so much for your super chat. African Giant says both teams without key players, some exhaustion as well from midweek games. Another match decided by an over-eagerness of Anthony Taylor. Disappointed with the draw, but I am proud of my team playing with a man down. Oh, that's fair enough. Oh, playing with my team, playing with a man down. Oh, so you're a Chelsea fan. Oh, okay, cool. I don't know if why did I know that? I feel like I thought you were an Arsenal fan. Da-da-da. Another game. Disappointed with the draw, but I'm proud of my team playing with a man down. Oh, you should be. I mean, you should be proud. Like, if I was a Chelsea fan, I wouldn't be like super disappointed. Like, you know, like at the end of the day, you know, you played well, and I think for the most part that Chelsea we're really good. Like, I think the last 3 games that we played at Stamford Bridge, I think Chelsea have been the better team for the majority of those games. We just happen to be good enough to make sure that we're good in big games because even if we get outplayed, we get something. Like, that's really what it comes down to. Like, the Liverpool game was like a shock because that's not normal. It took a wonder goal to take the 3 points off of us. Like, so it won't be the first time or the last time that a team outplays us, at times or for big chunks of games. It's about how you manage that and if you can still make sure you get something at the end of the day. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, we're not going to always be the best, and that's what the good teams, like the good teams that win things, there'll be plenty of moments where people will be like, yeah, but we outplayed you for that half. But it's like, yeah, but at the end of the day, did you win? So that's kind of what it comes down to, man. The shin kicker is so meaty, man. He just Joe Linton on steroids. I like listen, hold on. I have to get Beckham some water, but I want to talk about the shin kicker thing in just a second. Give me 2 seconds. Okay, babe. You need some water? You need some water? Here you go, bud. Here you go, buddy. I'm sorry. I got you some water. There you go. Yeah, but here's the thing is Caicedo, he was out of control from minute 1. And this is my thing. This is where your desperation to prove a point and to back your chat makes you go and do things that you shouldn't be doing. And Anthony Taylor kind of exacerbated it by not calling those fouls early. Because here's the way that I think about things is sometimes you can save players from themselves if you just called the fouls initially. He had like 3 fouls before that were shoves in the back that were the clearest of clearest fouls, and he didn't call them. And as a player, that makes you think that you're in the right. I think if you get like an early yellow or you get called for those fouls, then they tell you to settle down. But he was like, oh shit, I'm just gonna go even harder because like he's so desperate to prove it. And he fucked up because I'm sure a lot of Chelsea fans will be saying right now, like, if Caicedo had stayed on the pitch, they would have won. But at the end of the day, his whole like desperation, and then the fact that Anthony Taylor was, I thought he just lost the control of the game. Like he wasn't calling it fair enough, and he really should have done the thing where he realized that this is a highly contentious, very important derby game with 2 teams that are definitely like up. You know, you don't need to call the first foul on Zubi, so then you don't also need to call the you don't have to give the yellow to Zubi, so then you don't have to give the yellow to Kukurea. You don't have to give the yellow to Mascara. You can kind of let those go. You call the initial fouls that Caicedo had. He probably would have ended up with a yellow because he had 3. But let's just say, and that calms him down. And then you maybe get to keep everybody on the pitch and you have a much better game because he didn't have to do that. But as soon as he called the yellow on Zubi, he fucked up. That was where he fucked up because then he had to give the Kukurea one, and it skewed everything, and just the game was just out of control, bro. The game was just out of control, bro. It just was. In our defense, Esteval was worse than Saka or Isaiah, as I predicted. Bro, like Saka, this was one of the rare times where he pissed me off. Like, and I don't get mad at Saka very often. It's very much like I'm gonna give you, the benefit of the doubt. But one of the things that I've always felt is that I don't feel like Saka can be your main guy. I definitely think you need to have 1 or 2 more very consistent output players or you'll be in trouble, because I just feel like Saka goes through these periods where he's just rough, and that was rough. That was rough. Saka is a fantastic player. He is world class. He is my guy. He's it. That is, I will defend him. But he was smelly today, and then there just wasn't much else. Marino is more of like a backup guy and he's scoring big goals. Trossard is more of a backup guy. He's scoring goals. We need the other people that are meant to be the real people out there. They need to be scoring goals. And this is what I was saying before because somebody was like, "Oh, Jessica, you said that our attack wasn't going to help our defense." Da, 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 da. This was the exact thing that I'm talking about. Is our defense was weakened today. We were kind of under it, and there really wasn't enough quality from the players that were meant to rely upon in difficult moments. There's been plenty of times where we've, had good moments, 60 minutes, 70 minutes against teams that we weren't as good as like in the past. And they've always had a player that came out of nowhere, attacking player that just won the game for them. And I don't feel like we have enough for that. I don't feel like we have enough of that. I still don't feel like we have enough of that. We can be playing like dog shit, but there's still going to be one player that pops up with a goal and then we can score another one and then we walk away with 3 points. I still don't feel like we have that, so African Giant, thank you so much for your super chat says, I think the term is a little unfair to him, but he got a little overeager due to the nerves. However, that was an awful challenge from him, but he's class. Yeah, two things can be true at the same time that he's a fantastic player. He was just really overzealous. In that. And I just don't think Anthony Taylor did him any favors by not calling those initial fouls because I just think as a player, if you're getting away with it, you're going to keep doing it. And I think you get a foul or two or maybe even a yellow, and then you're like, oh shit, I need to calm down. But he was just too up. He was just too up. And thank you again for your super chats. I really appreciate it. You're saying Rice also shows a ton of maturity in a lot of these tight edge games. Wonderful composure from him. Helps that he's been playing for a long time. Yeah, Rice is a seasoned pro. To me, Rice is like a seasoned pro. He's not somebody that I look at as just because he didn't play at the highest level for a long time. Like he, was West Ham's captain for a long time. This is like his third season with us. So to me, like he's like a seasoned guy. Like he's 26 years old. And he did show a lot of restraint and like a lot of his last ditch tackles and that kind of stuff just showed his level. To me, he was our man of the match. And I don't even think there was anybody else worthy of the nomination, but yeah, Rice was really, really good today. And like I said, if we win anything, our player of the season will probably be Declan Rice. Like I just feel like his level is just a little bit higher than some of our other players when he's really on it. So yeah, Brendan says, no way should a 10-man team outperform 11 every time there's pressure. MLS is now lacking confidence. Our wingers were woeful today. They weren't very good today. All these Chelsea players were over the top physical. They were just really up for it. It was their cup final. You could tell from the moment that it was actually happening pre the Tottenham game. Actually, even before that, they were talking about this game in October. Oh, but when we meet you, that's going to be a 6-point swing and, we'll go ahead of you on the table. It's a 6-point swing. We're going to go ahead of you on the table. That's been getting talked about from October. So this was their biggest game of the season. This was bigger than their Barcelona game. Like, trust and believe they were going to be up for it. December is crucial as we need to win all of our matches, few tricky games. We can do it. Semenyo is a must in Jan. Only player I feel can rival Trossard. Martinelli is now a final 20 minutes player. Madueke offers nothing on the left. I don't think we're going to buy anybody in January. I didn't like Rice dropping deep after Zubi's sub. I mean, what else were we going to do, though? Like, we didn't really have a choice. It wasn't like you can push Rice up high and then drop Odegaard deep. You didn't really have a choice, did you? Why is Eze always casual, generic, and disinterested to engage in the ball? Man always looks like he's not serious. I love Eze, but Ode clear as a 10. No, it's not about Odegaard being clear as a 10. I just think that they're two completely different players. And in this particular game, when you're being pressed, like pressed like that in the physical, that's just not Eze's game. And there wasn't a lot of space because he was playing up in between Reece James and Caicedo. So the whole vibe was off for him. And he's also not a player that's going to find space in deeper places to try to get himself integrated into the game. So you lose him. And then he's also just not a good defensive player. Like there's a distinct difference between like Madueke and Eze and like Odegaard and Martinelli, right? Those 2 players are reliable off the ball in a way where they may not win all their challenges, but they're gonna be in the right positions, they're gonna engage, this and that, they're gonna, chase down players, whatever. Those 2 are like flair players, they're more like la-di-da-di-da, so even if they're gonna, like, try to engage, it's gonna come off like 50% because that's just not really their game, you know? So, not too much on Eze because I feel like Eze showed us what he's great at against Spurs, but like, the game against Bayern, I thought he was quiet, and then the game today, I thought he was quiet. We're just gonna need something different, and I still feel like his best position for us is gonna be out wide, and Odegaard will come back in because you just in games like this, you need players that are not afraid to get onto the ball and are gonna pop in different positions to find the space, and he's just not that player. I feel like he's just best in and around the box, in the left half space, like, that's his jam, but, like, he was not gonna drop deep into the center circle to find that space. He wasn't gonna do none of that, so not too much on Eze, but, like, he's, like, 27 years old. We know what we bought when we got him, and those are the things that we like about Eze, we like that he's more of, like, a flair player and, like, kinda more like that, but that's not always gonna work in every single game, and this to me, this doesn't look like the perfect game for Eze. Do the players look tired? Are we rotating enough players like Timber, Rice, and Zuby? Well, we haven't had the opportunity. That's the thing. It's like people expect these players haven't had a lot of opportunities to rest because we've been basic not a skeleton crew. I won't say we're a skeleton crew. That's a little bit over the top, but we've been desperate for some of these players to come back for a long time, and we're talking about like Kai's still not back. It's Jesus is, he's been out for a year. Madueke and Gyökeres are just barely coming back like today, so they've been playing basically the same group. We've been playing like that same it was Gyökeres, Trossard, and Odegaard, sorry, Gyökeres, Trossard and Saka, and then it went to Marino, Trossard, and Saka, and we played that same like front group for like over a month with all the games that we played. They played like 10 games together or even maybe some more, so and then it's been all Zuby and Rice. There hasn't been any rotation of them. I don't think that Norgard is really going to be like popping in like, "Hey, let me step in," like, you know, uh there's been no rest for Eze really. Uh and we know our back line is, so all of it, listen, listen. We just need to make it through. We just need to make it through. We're getting some of our players back, so we should be better now, you know. Uh let's see. I don't understand Odie said in hype he didn't even deliver any through pass to Victor or over the defense. Is he still the same old problem? I mean, it's just the fact that I feel like it's not just this game, it was pre the Tottenham and Bayern game where I think people also started to realize that we just need something different. So it's not about hyping him up. It's just, but the idea that he's like not a player that can help us at anymore, like he doesn't offer things that Eze doesn't offer, is also just like not realistic. Odegaard is not a player that you can just get rid of and like we're not gonna need him. Um, and no, he didn't deliver any passes to Gyökeres or whatever, but he definitely added that extra pair of feet that Eze wasn't adding. So, and to be honest, if Saka could just cross the ball in, we probably would have scored, and Odegaard would have been involved in some of those because he was getting the ball to Odegaard or getting the ball to Saka. One thing that's very noticeable that when Eze plays in that position, Saka touches the ball a significant amount less. So there's that, but it's not really about Odegaard getting hyped. And at the end of the day, like we're gonna need everybody, so like it's not that big of a deal. We don't need to be like, oh my god, Odegaard's getting hyped, and I don't like Odegaard. So we're gonna need every single one of these players, including Marino, including Trossard. We're gonna need everybody. Sometimes I feel like Arsenal fans are so harsh on some of our players, like Saka. The guy literally gets back from back hammy injuries and consistently getting GA every game. No, I don't. I mean, listen, if there's a player that I could say that Arsenal fans are harsh on, Saka is probably the lowest on that list. Like, I'm gonna be really honest with you because Saka is a player that gets a lot of credit in the bank, and he always has done, and he always should because he's usually our best player. So I kind of it's like today was distinctly bad from him in positions that he's normally really good in. And I think it's okay to say that. It's not like people are saying he should be dropped and we should kick him to the curb or anything like that. But he was distinctly poor. And this is coming from somebody that always gives him a long leash. Like, I always give him a long leash. I rarely say anything bad about him, even when I don't think he's playing good. Um, you know, Absence makes the heart grow fonder, hence some fans missing Odie. I think they just see that he has other things that he can do that Eze doesn't offer, and vice versa. They're two completely different players. And so, in games where maybe we need to unpick the lock or we need to maybe play outside of the block, we're not getting so much space and time in central spaces. Odegaard's probably a better option at points. Like, it's really not that deep. It's really not. Um, Nah, nobody's harsh on Saka. He was 4 out of 10 today, and that's a gift. Um, Saka subbed on for Jesus or Wanyeri 80. Okay. These agendas are so pointless. I agree. They're so pointless. It doesn't matter. We need absolutely everybody if we're gonna win stuff this season. So yeah, everybody needs to come back. Like, I want everybody. I'm excited to see Jesus. You know how crazy that sounds because I was like, we could do without him, but I'm even happy for him to come back because it's just not enough. Let's see. Madueke is not good on the left at all. I would have taken Scrappy win all day, but a draw versus 10 men feels like 2 points dropped. Chelsea will feel more confident now, Sai. You think so? I mean, I don't really know if this is going to knock our confidence. I feel like we're 5 points clear at the top. Why do we worry about Chelsea feeling more confident than us? We we just beat Bayern and we beat Tottenham. We came out of a hell week 5 points clear at the top. Why, it's like I just feel like we're so worried about everyone else. We need to worry about ourselves, and like we have a lot to be happy about. It's just today wasn't our best day. So, and hopefully the players don't have the same mentality as the fans, because if they do, not saying that we need to necessarily change, but I'm just saying that like the players probably won't be thinking that. They'll be thinking we've gotten more of our players back. We got through a hellish week and now we go again. So, um, let's see. Chelsea will be dropping points very soon. Don't worry. Saka just needs some competition. Can't be playing every week and he's poor. I mean, we have Ethan and Dowman. I don't necessarily think Ethan or Dowman are necessarily the players, but definitely Madueke. Let's see. The fans aren't ready to mentally compete for the league. We need to grow up. Arsenal fans think we will win every game and ride off into the sunset. I'm sorry, winning the league title isn't easy. Saliba Gabriel needs to be back. Like, what the fuck was that? The fluidity from the back sucked. I mean, not too much on Hincapié and Mascara. Like, Hincapié is like 23 and Mascara is like 21. They've never really played together in this high profile of a game against what was the second best team in the league at the time that we started the game. I just feel like not too much on them. It's not easy to just pop straight in. We've had a tried and true best center back pairing in the world for like 3 years now. And so whoever comes in there is going to feel like less than, but I feel like that, like if that, like no offense to these players, but if that was like Kibior and someone else, like that would have been terrible. That would have been a train wreck. So I just feel like at the same I get it, like that of course we want Saliba and Gabriel back, but not too much on Hincapié and Mascara. Yes, we conceded a goal and we will continue to concede because we don't have our best center back pairing, but they did pretty well, in the circumstances. This was not an easy game by any stretch of the imagination. They've been dumped into the fire, and I think they did pretty well, all things considered. Uh, it's hard for me to feel like that it's hard for me to go in on them understanding what they were dropped into today. Understanding that they went into a game away from home at a London rival in a 6-pointer in a title race where that other team, that was their cup fucking final. Like, and you guys have never really, you've only played together like one time, so it's rough, got to give them a little bit. Let's see. My confidence in the title hasn't changed really. Me personally, if we win the league cup, um, while we're sec while we're still first, I'd fully get my chest out and say we're winning the league, not before. They lost Caicedo for 3 games. They won't be close to us. City aren't ready either. It's still ours to lose. I mean, City barely beat Leeds the other day. So I'm just saying, I think we should still be like happy about what we've done. Obviously, any nick, any cut is going to be exacerbated, but I think we've done well. I think today's is Chelsea's 4th or 5th red card. Also, people don't realize there's massive pressure to win, especially when the team hasn't won for 15 to 20 years. It's not easy. What I'm realizing is the fans who have seen us win league titles are calmer heads. The younger online fans are crashing out. Why are I'm not on Twitter, and I thank God every day for the fact that I deleted that shit off my phone, because that place is just like that will have you watching the game in a completely different eyes. Like, you will have thought you did okay, and then you'll go on Twitter and all of a sudden you'll be like, "Yeah, we were shit, huh?" Like, you know what I mean? So, thank God I don't have that, but I will say that, like, this is probably the first and only time that I actually feel like confident that we're gonna win something this season. The last couple seasons, I've always had that little thing in the back of my head, like they don't have enough experience, we don't have enough quality, we don't have enough depth, something's not right, we're not gonna be able to do it. But watching everybody else, watching us, seeing our depth, seeing what we've been through already this season, I still feel very confident. And I thought we would drop points in one of these games during this 3-game run. And I figured if it was gonna be any of them, it would be today. So I kind of feel like, okay, this is what I thought, but it is what it is. Um, let's see. I might need to follow suit. We were poor after scoring. Yeah, we didn't really put the pedal to the thing, but again, you know, it is what it is, man. Like, I don't know what to say. Like, I've said pretty much all I can about that. Like, I just feel like in particular, it kept getting to Saka and he just kept kicking it out. Um, This is a super chat from Sid saying, "Bro, like Pool had Mane, Salah. We need 2 wingers to perform. Saka was something, and he needs to improve in big games." Um, thank you for your super chat. I really appreciate it. We just smoked Bayern, and some fans are thinking we aren't ready to win this Premier League trophy. The next 5 games are favorable for us. I only keep X for the transfer news in hand of Arsenal. This game was on Mikel 2 seasons in a row at the bridge. He sets us up poorly, and we have to make comeback. It's Mikel's fault. Really? How did he set us up poorly? No. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's not Mikel's fault that they can't defend a corner. Like, let's be serious for 5 seconds. Is it Mikel's fault that every time the ball got to Saka, he clanged it into the seats? Bruh. I Nah, bro, I'm sorry. That's not it. That's not gonna be it to me. Sorry. And this is from somebody that will never hold her tongue when it comes to if I think Mikkel fucked it up. But today, those players were not up for the game. And it was not on him that they could not defend that corner. It's not his fault that Saliba got injured. That is not it. I'm so sorry, but nah, bruh. Like, they just weren't up for it, man, the way that they should have been, man. I think he could have added an attacker earlier, but Mikel was fine otherwise. I mean, we had like he was making changes a lot quicker than I'm used to seeing him make changes. Jokeris was on pretty early in that game because they had at least 20 minutes with 10 men against 10 men to do something and they didn't do it. So it's not like Arteta subbed at the last like 2 seconds. He gave them a lot of time to get their shit together. They fucked it up. Sorry. For me, that's on the players. Like, to me, this is on the players, bro. Like, it has to be. Let's see. Let's see. Halftime. I can't see. It's too hard to see. I'm ill. Yeah, I don't know when he came on, but I was surprised. I was like, "Oh, Joker's coming on already." So, um, maybe the MLS one would be one that I would be like, I didn't really understand that. I was like, "Huh?" You know, let's just leave Calafiori on, but other than that, they just didn't play well. Why did he take off Eze? Because Eze wasn't doing shit. That's why. Eze wasn't doing anything. That's why he took him off. Only Rice Timber played well. Mascara, Zuby, Raya, and Calafiori were mediocre. The rest were subpar bad. So 5 players under par bad. 2 seasons in a row, it's the same game at the bridge. We couldn't string together passes. The first half, they literally played like Newcastle, just disrupted the game. We made 0 adjustments to thug football. I'm gonna be real, the players were not good enough, today, and, as I just I don't see I don't see a world where that was, um that was on Arteta. I could see more the things that were being said, after Sunderland, because I understood the the narrative around if you get too negative and you bring on more defenders, you don't bring on attackers, then you're just defending. But today, those boys were just clanging it off of each other's chins and shit. Straight up. Um, let's see. Massive rotation needed against Brentford midweek because Villa away next weekend is gonna be another stressful game. Yeah, we just need to regroup. It's really not that deep. I'm gonna be real. Like, I just don't think Arteta was under it was Arteta's fault. Like, I really don't. 3 seasons we played the same way at the bridge. What do you think is the problem? We played the same way. I mean, I just feel like the way that they play and the fact that they have so much PMP and so many like strong, aggressive, athletic players doesn't suit our style of wanting to hold on to possession as much. And I just don't actually, because listen, I just feel like we match up awkwardly against them. I feel like they're a weird kind of like they're awkward for us. Every time we play against them, I notice that they just go super physical and then we have a problem getting onto the ball. And I'm not quite sure if like tactically we can do anything because in the first half, especially early, we were doing a lot of passing out from the back. Raya was getting the ball off of Mascara and these guys and then trying to pass it, that long flat pass into Marino or Eze or Saka or whoever. We stopped doing that in halfway through the second half and started kicking it long. So we did change things up. It's just they're awkward. They're not as bad of a team as you guys want them to be. And we haven't beat them at the bridge. It's hard to beat them at the bridge. And we usually beat them at home. So it feels like you guys think that Chelsea is some banter club and they're not. They're a good team and they are awkward, especially when they're super physical. Remember what we said about Trossard never to start? That's 100% Martinelli. The guy is useless in building up play. Let's see. If we shifted Eze to the left, things could have been better. Noni was poor because he was forced onto the wrong side. Perhaps, but we don't know. Maybe Eze was tired. Eze's played a lot of minutes lately because there's been no Odegaard. So could have just been the case that he had to take him off because maybe he was just tired. Um, let's see. Not true, Jess. We match up pretty well at the Emirates against it's just different. Home and away is different. So They're up for it, they're at their place, like, it's just different. Chelsea are a different team at home, just like we're at a different team at home. It's just I just don't understand what you guys think that Mikel should have been doing. It's not his fault that they could not defend that corner. Like, I don't know, but listen, it just feels a little bit like we're trying to put it on one particular person. 10 men just 10 men, no excuses. Listen, what do you want me to do? Go and fly to London and kick Saka in the neck? Like, there's nothing I can do, so, I just we just move on, we go to the next game. The Emirates is a bigger pitch, packing midfield don't help you there. The Emirates is a much bigger pitch. We play at the Stamford Bridge is very small, um, but yeah, I just think they played well. Like, they actually played well and were really up for it, and our intensity and stuff wasn't up for it the way that we needed to be, and the things that we try to do, especially, like, getting the ball to Saka, again, like, those are not shots, but those are opportunities. When we get you the ball in a good position and you're open and you just kick it into the crowd over and over and over again, then what? Since when is a draw at Chelsea a nightmare? We're 5 points clear, people chill out. I don't know. We've draw this is the 3rd draw that we've had in a row at Stamford Bridge. So, yeah. We are paying the price of lack of rotation. Norgard, Wanieri, Ben, and even Skelly are suffering for lack of game time. Honestly, this is Arteta's last chance. A good coach, but an average manager. Nah, see, you guys, like, y'all are just spinning out of control now. It's like y'all are spinning out of control now. Talking about what game would you have played Norgard in? What game would have been the perfect game to bring in Ben White? Also remember that Ben White has just recently gotten back into full fitness. Really? You know, we have done fine. Like, we have done well, with the rotation. We just have had a lot of injuries. We've had a lot of injuries, so and it's not like Timber was the one who played badly. It's not. It's not like Rice or Zubimendi played badly today. Our biggest problem was that we couldn't really ramp up the pressure with 10 when we had that additional man, and a lot of that was just lack of quality in the final third to me, and that usually shows up in the bigger games because some of our players just when the lights are bright, they don't show up, so nah, I'm not trying to hear all that. Arsenal had just played their hardest match in their first half. They need to settle and refocus to be able to hold on to the lead. So City lost away to Brighton, so they're not winning the title. So who is? Can people just be level-headed? I just don't. We went through a whole phase where we had so many players out and there wasn't really an option to rotate. We were down to where Arteta was looking at the bench and you guys were saying, yeah, let's just play Wanyeri and Max Dowman. Like, and then now all of a sudden it's like, yeah, well, we should have been rotating. You guys are not keeping up with you're not keeping up with it. Like, there wasn't anybody to rotate with a couple games ago. There wasn't nobody to rotate. And y'all don't even fuck with Norgard like that. So what games would have been perfect for Norgard? Y'all are tripping. Now you guys are tripping. Y'all are tripping. For real. We're just now getting players back, so now we're going to be able to rotate. So in these next couple of games, we'll get to see different people. We'll get to see Gyökeres and these guys. You guys, Marino and Trossard were playing because that was all that was available. Like, are you guys for real? Like, come on. And if we drop points, the same people would have had crash outs. Thank you. Nobody would have wanted Norgard. Thank you. Like, we were playing the best team in the world and y'all wanted to show up with Norgard. Like, fuck off. Like, come on. I need you guys to be so fucking for real right now. Sometimes other teams get to be good as well. And I think Chelsea were good. I think we were not as good as we should have been. We came out with a draw and we showed some fight. We really did. And we did, we did as good as I guess we could have on the day. I don't know. But y'all are tripping. Talk about yeah, well, we could have rotated more. And what about Norgard and Ethan and Ben White? Fuck off. Like, come on. Ben White has not, like, he's not up to it. Like, he's not up to it. And we haven't had any real easy games in this like kind of run to really do that with. Not the way that you guys think. Like we're talking about for like the Ben Whites right now and the Norgards, we're talking about Carabao Cup games. Like we're not talking about let's just play them against Bayern. How like yo, okay. I think they want every team in the league to be shit and expect us to walk it. Um, isn't the general rule of away games not to lose? It is, and I kind of understand why people feel like, okay, well, they were down to 10 men, so you had to win, then that means that you win. I just don't think it's that simple. And I think that at the end of the day, like we were down to 10 men against City last season and we still drew that like they drew that game to us. Like we were a hard cookie to crack and they had to score in like the last minute. It's not that simple. Nothing is that simple. But if we needed to come at it like these are difficult games. If I knew we were going to drop points somewhere, we were never going to get out with all 3 wins. This was probably the game we are going to drop it. So it kind of is what it is. But listen, guys, we're just going around in circles. I'm gonna go ahead and go, but make sure you guys like the video and subscribe to the channel, and make sure that I read all the super chats. Thank you for everybody for your super chats and everybody who showed up. I really appreciate it. You guys are the best. And we'll definitely talk soon. I am not feeling the best, so I'll keep you guys up to date on what's going to be going on because I'm supposed to be going out of town next week or tomorrow, actually. So, yeah, but we'll see. Make sure you guys like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.